It's okay to hear some harsh, bad words from other people if they are helping you grow, if they are helping you learn. So, figure out a mentor. Because there's such a big belief around how education works. Like, if someone is not teaching them, they don't think they can learn it. Don't worry about that. If you're not a technical founder, you cannot build a technology led product. You definitely can. So there is something to be scared of, but as human society, we have to quickly move towards creating the right checks, finding the limitations, or like creating the boundaries. That's how Chat GPT is. Let's say like it's not an expert looking at that answer. It's a child looking at an answer. For them, that's the correct answer. A lot of companies, tutoring companies, coaching companies are already seeing a dip in their revenues because people are taking help of AI instead of learning from them. Right now, I think my fear is more from people's perspective that it is a COVID level event. If you see it from like people who are affected, it's a COVID level event in the sense like lakhs of people are losing their jobs.
Did you know that earlier this year, a letter was signed by the Future of Life Foundation, a non-profit backed by Elon Musk, and signed by the likes of Steve Wozniak, co-founder Apple, Jaan Tallinn, co-founder of Skype, and many more, saying that the advancements in AI bear profound risks to society and humanity. This and a lot more has been happening in the world of artificial intelligence lately, leaving many of us fearing if AI is getting smarter and more intelligent than humans. This and a lot more comes up in my conversation today with my guest, who actually has nothing to do with technology if you look up her educational background. A celebrity chef turned lecturer, turned coder, turned a very well-known tech entrepreneur who's much looked after and is trailblazing the path of AI for businesses in India and globally. But how did all of this happen for her? And now that she's slaying it in AI, what does she see is in the Pandora's box? But how did all of this happen for her? And now that she's slaying the world of AI, what does she see is in the Pandora's box? Should entrepreneurs be concerned if they're lagging behind? And how do businesses really keep up with the ever-changing and fast-changing world of AI? What are the skills of the future? So much came up in this conversation that had me thrilled and at the edge of my seat, literally. I promise you, this is a conversation you cannot miss with my guest, Preksha Kaparwan, co-founder of Super AI on CXO Talks. Now, let's hear what this CXO Talks. It is funny to actually be interviewing an entrepreneur who also happens to be your best friend since college days. So, welcome on CXO Talks. Things first.
Thank you. I'm just thinking, what do you not know about me that we can discover in this chat?
No personal conversations,
Okay.
But we will definitely be talking about your journey because what intrigues me the most is that you've had a journey which, right from being a hospitality graduate who turned out to be a chef who was admired by celebrities, complimented by celebrities, to then going on to lecture and becoming a lecturer in a hotel management college, in a hospitality college, and then turning to tech, becoming a coder to becoming a tech entrepreneur.
Yes.
How did this unfold for you? Matlab, how did this happen? Why did this happen?
Yeah, I think for this chat, probably you didn't have to do a lot of preparation. You know a lot about me already. And you have seen this journey, you have seen those low points where I was trying to figure out what to do next, and the high point when I am able to maybe learn a particular language and create something, right? So when I was a chef, and it was a lovely journey, but it felt like I was reaching stagnancy because of how the structure works in these kind of roles, these kind of professions. When I stepped out of it, I was feeling like I am living in a cocoon. A lot is happening in technology, but I felt that we were on the outskirts, just waiting for something to happen so that we can do something with it. And that was that was a FOMO situation. Like today, if people feel FOMO about Chat GPT, if they're not using it, they feel like, oh my God, what are we missing out on? For me, back then, it was like data science was the thing. Okay, a lot was happening, and I'm like, oh my God, like I have to get in, I have to figure out something. And I got in as as a salesperson, and I was terrible at it. I tried to sell the solution that company was that point creating, and I think I made a lot of friends. I met a lot of restaurateurs. It was a hotel data science solution. I met a lot of people, got free food, and good conversations, good friends. But I could not sell a single thing. Then I think a month later, someone called me asking me to create a website, and I said, "That's not what we do. We have a product which is, data science for hospitality, an analytics tool." And then they're like, Preksha, this is the only thing you're going to be able to do for us as of now. And if we collect some data, then you can probably apply the dashboard that you're talking about. I said, okay. But by that time, we did not have enough fund to keep our developers. So they had left. And I decided that I need one sale at least so that, I don't look like a failure. This was a career change that I took. And after a couple of months of struggle, I was already at my low point, trying to just motivate myself every day. And then I thought like, okay, I'll try to create it, how hard it could be. So I looked at a couple of YouTube videos, how to create an HTML site. And at that point, we did not have a lot of frameworks. Like today, if you want to create something, there are a lot of frameworks that you can simply start with. You don't have to do the basic coding. You can get the structure. In fact, like with AI today, you can draw something on paper and ask some AI tool to convert it, and it will do it. It will create a functional app or a website. So I started learning it. Within 1 month, I was able to learn good amount of stuff and create it, deliver to the customer. And because I like design, it was beautiful and he loved it. And then for a while, we started doing just websites. Yeah. So that was kind of the progress I had from being a chef to being a lecturer and, feeling left out from what's happening in technology. And then when I got in getting into development wala bit.
And from there, the journey of becoming an entrepreneur in tech began.
Yeah. From there, I think, from there I realized that if I am able to do this and it is worth something to people, probably I can have a bigger part in this. I don't need to be trying to figure out things from the sidelines. I can create more. I can talk to more people, figure out like what makes a proper product, what would it take for someone to trust in me and give us some money, of course. And at that time, I started to work with my co-founder. At that time, I started to work with my now co-founder, Saurabh, and we started to work on dashboarding, real-time dashboarding product. And the company was called Railbox.
Yeah. I'm curious about one thing, that from all these roles, from all these hats that you donned, what was that common thread, that key learning that translated from you being a chef to a lecturer to now an entrepreneur? What were some learnings that you could pick on that were common in each of these roles that you took on?
One thing that I was absolutely sure of since I started working, like since I was in college, that I'll have to work really hard to create an impact. At that time, it was not even an impact, but just to make something of myself. I was absolutely sure of that. When I became a chef, I wanted to just learn, and learn. When I became a lecturer, I wanted to learn. I would spend all my time in the library or playing video games. That was fun. When I became an entrepreneur, or when I became a coder briefly, and an entrepreneur after that, I still knew that I have to learn. There are new things coming, and like look at today how the world is moving, where the technology is. If I had stopped learning at any point, I would have missed out on a very big, crucial part of everything that's happening today. One was that I have to learn, because people at some point, I think, get settled at the job that they have. A lot of people feel that, okay, I have made it to a point, now I have to just keep repeating this very efficiently. So the most they can grow is become more efficient, save more time, have more time with kids, family, travel, this and that. But to actually actually have an path forward, I had to keep learning. So one very strong focus I would say people need to have is like, okay, we cannot sit back and relax. We have to figure out that what's next and prepare for it today. Other thing is that it's okay to hear some harsh, bad words from other people if they are helping you grow, if they are helping you learn. So, figure out a mentor. And if they have criticism, just try to see. I know it's very hard because anyone who's stepping out and trying to figure out a path of entrepreneurship must have a hard, preconceived personality, a way of working things, a notion. So you have to take it with a pinch of salt that I have to listen to some criticism and try to work on it.
Yeah. I think with criticism, it's also about understanding where it is coming from, what is the intention. But yeah, you very rightly pointed out finding a mentor who can help you in the journey. And what I also understood from you is the perspective of having a growth mindset. Coming to your role as an entrepreneur, what I'm also curious about is that as a tech entrepreneur who comes from a non-tech background, have there been moments where you have felt being limited by your own beliefs? And
So I think one good part that I don't resonate a lot with when I don't know how it's good though. Okay, like one thing that I really had an upper hand on is that I never believed that I can't do anything. That is because how I grew up with my family and my father is in the army. He always encouraged me to do things. So I believe that I can do anything. But I can understand that sometimes it's your belief that don't let you grow. Like, when you have a house pet, they know their boundaries and they don't want to go out of it. Physically they can, but it is their belief that this is where they have to be. So similarly, we also have such belief. Luckily for me, fortunately for me, that I knew that if I want to get something done, if I want to learn something, I will be able to do it. That was one thing. The only thing which I at times felt limited by was that I wanted to do too much. I was not planned, or I was not prepared to do as much as I wanted to do. That led to a lot of frustration and burnout.
how do you deal with the burnout?
Today, I think I am better at dealing with it because today I still have the same soul which wants to do everything.
Yeah.
I'll do this, and this kind of thing. And if you see my to-do list in the morning, it will have maybe 28 things. By end of the day, maybe I've done 3. But today I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
That, okay, it's fine physically or with intellectually, this was all that was possible. Earlier, I was not. I would spend nights doing stuff. I'll spend all my day doing things that were beyond my skill level at that point. But I think I was able to gradually learn that it's fine to do few things properly and delegate other things so that your ultimate goal is achieved, even though the standard is not as high as you kept for yourself, but at least you are moving.
So what I also hear is that you did not really have a challenge, as you did not have a limiting belief which was too strong that would stop you from growing, and your intention to keep learning continued to take you forward.
Yeah.
You also continue to mentor a lot of young entrepreneurs.
Sure.
Do you see that people who come from a non-tech background often have a lot of self-doubt or have any other kind of a limiting belief that stops them from building a scalable tech business?
Absolutely, all the time. Like right now, if you switch on my Instagram and go to my unseen messages, I don't know what they are called. the ones you have not accepted yet.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of messages where there are students, there are entrepreneurs, there are mid-level professionals, young professionals who are trying to ask me if they can make a switch to data science or if they can make a switch to machine learning. Now, they absolutely can. There's nothing that stops them. But they believe that it is something very difficult and they wouldn't even want to explore it.
Why is that?
I think because there's such a big um, belief around how education works, how careers work, that you have to follow a particular path. You do your graduation, then you pick a postgraduate course, then you do certain course. I think that makes them feel very limited in terms of, like, if someone is not teaching them, they don't think they can learn it, which is which is which is very difficult for them to get out of, and that's why they look for a lot of mentorship. And I think that's a good direction to look for mentorship. But if you're coming to me and asking that, Preksha, can you tell me if I can take this course and then I can become this and then I'll be able to do this, I feel like that you're asking me the wrong questions. Ask me, how do I become this? What skills do I need to learn? And can you tell me, like, who are the better mentors or who has a good course about particular thing, which is a good skill? So I think a lot of people feel like if they have not been taught something, if it's not part of their plan, they will not be able to do it by themselves, which is absolutely rubbish.
Yeah, and I think it's also about asking the right questions, is what I hear.
Absolutely.
Fair. And as you are now growing into building another venture now with Super AI,
Yes.
I am curious that, when you are building a team as a non-tech founder, building a tech business, what are some of the challenges that you come across? Because you, at the end of the day, need your teams to believe in you.
Yeah.
So what are some challenges that you've faced and how have you overcome that as somebody who's building a tech enterprise?
I think there are two parts to this answer for me. One is like how I am building and how I did it. One is how young entrepreneurs, how budding entrepreneurs are looking at it. So when I started, I learned a lot of things in technology myself. In fact, like I trained like I would always train initial few months. Okay, what I'm saying. In fact, I'll always train my team for initial few months to work on certain technologies because I learned those things myself. But as they grew, as their intricacy in their work grew, I handed them over to my co-founder or someone senior in my tech team because from there, I did not have that expertise. So I focused on things that I was better at. I was good at teaching them how to look at the entire product, how to work with design, how to create beautiful UIs, how to make sure the user flow is impeccable. I was good with those things, so I focused on that. Now, yes, when initially they meet you and they understand that, okay, you are not a tech founder or like you don't have a tech degree, okay, they will not be very serious about what they have to learn from you. But then with time, and now it has many years, I think with the initial teams, with time they realize, okay, these problems can only be sorted by her. She's the only one who will be able to tell us how to get out of this challenge. Now, with the entrepreneurs today, they have this belief that if they are going to create a technology product, they need to at least have a co-founder, which is a good idea, but it's not a necessity. Or they need to know technology themselves deeply. So they dive into learning a language. Like someone wants to work with, let's say, Auto GPT, and they keep saying, okay, I want to try it out, but I don't know Python. I want to try it out, but I don't know about Python. So I created a very small, step-by-step process of installing Chat Auto GPT and using it. And anyone can see it, just have a look at it and install it and use it without learning Python. You just need to know what the right libraries to install, the right tools to have, and that is it. And it's pretty simple. Internet does all the job by itself most of the time. So that's the situation today. When I was learning, not a lot of things were available as a framework, libraries and these simpler stuff were not available. So it was important for me to learn few things because I was also part of development team at some point. So I learned those things. Today, I don't think like if you have to match the pace of how the world is moving and you want to build something, you need to get into intricacies of learning how to build an app from scratch. ज़रूरत ही नहीं है ना. Everything is there. You just need to logically be able to see from a distance how the product should look like, which part need to be automated, which part are manual, and how it will take me to the end goal. If that's not happening, if you are not able to see the end goal from your start, maybe just work on doing it through WhatsApp, doing it through manual calls, just doing it physically instead of trying to figure out, oh, how do I put entire ecosystem together? But don't worry about that. If you're not a technical founder, you cannot build a technology-led product. You definitely can.
And while a lot of people are now also understanding that there's so much no-code platforms and things that they can leverage, as we talked about, and people do not need to start from the scratch. When you started out, there was a lot of learning that you had to do, which was very hands-on. What has been those 3 key learnings that you've had as an entrepreneur that you would want to pass on to up and coming and budding entrepreneurs in tech?
Okay. I think 3 will not come out right away. But 1 is like try everything out.
Yeah.
Like if you feel like, oh, I should be able to do that or I want to try that, just try it out. Be it posting a video, be it writing a post, be it just shouting a name in the crowd, be it just going on stage and meeting Lucky Ali. Just do it.
Yeah.
As many of us know now, and in entrepreneurship community, we know this, like if we have to get an answer, we'll have to ask first.
Yeah.
And if you don't ask, the answer is no. So, that one thing of trying everything out is a must. Second, probably I would say that be kind to your people. Be when you have a team, you'll be fortunate to have a team working with you. And at some point, they will be very difficult to work with because, everyone has different personalities. And as a founder, it's a very different relationship. You want to have a distance and have that authority, but you also want to be indulged with their lives. Understand deeply if, how much you want to contribute, because that person has put their career in your hands. And if there is no future for that person and you see it, because, you have the bird's eye view, when you see it, you have to let them go or tell them or guide them in the right direction. I just moved one of my marketing persons in data team actually, because it felt like she's better suited for that role. Though like I had to replace her for a few days, but it was a good decision because it's good for her growth. And as a whole, it's good for everyone in the team because they see that what a compassionate team they're working with, compassionate founders they're working with. So, make sure that you invest in your team and be ready for heartbreaks. You will have a lot of them. It's like teenage dating. You will have a heartbreak in the morning, in the evening, and at night.
Yeah.
Kabhi bhi ho sakta hai.
How do you overcome those heartbreaks as an entrepreneur?
I could remember having one of very early heartbreaks. Like, invested a lot of time in someone, teaching them this and that. And then they left and they did not even bother to talk about it or discuss or tell me. Left for some other company, good salary, good. If they would have told me that this is the plan, this is what they have planned, probably I would have given them a letter of recommendation. I would have asked them to stay for a couple of weeks and close what they were working on. But it felt like a betrayal. Yeah. That, you are compassionately working with someone and you're trying to see, okay, this is how we will look like, this is how he will look like, this is how the company will look like. and suddenly he's just not there, right? So at that time, it took me a couple of days, and it came out on other people in the team, because now I was doubting everyone. Tell me, what's your plan? Tell me, are you going to study further? Tell me, are you going to take a long leave? And that made the environment very tense. Today, one, I believe that if someone is working with you for 1 year, it's okay. It's like that's a good enough time. People need to move on very quickly. If you can give them a good word, why not? And like when someone leaves today, maybe my way of working has changed. It has improved a lot. That they want to tell me, even if they have to go tomorrow, they would like me to know. They would want to have not opinion, but a guidance sort of, and keep that door open. So I also grew. And like if someone today also like abruptly leaves, I probably will not be that heartbroken, because I have prepared myself for that.
Yeah. This actually reminds me of something that I was thinking of very recently, that as entrepreneurs, a lot of times when we just start out, we feel that we like to live with the belief that we know it all.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, we discover that we don't know it. But then the next thing that we do is that, yeah, I don't know, but I do care. And I do care to grow. I do care to improve myself. That with that growth also comes a very humbling experience of
True.
knowing that I need to also improve as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
as a founder. So that's what I heard from you, and thank you for sharing that.
I think the biggest responsibility as a founder we have is that continually grow as a compassionate founder. Like personal relationships, how you're handling personal relationship with clients, with your family, with your team, that has to grow. Even if you don't grow in skill, how you manage those relationships absolutely has to grow.
I was speaking to another founder yesterday, and this is exactly what we talked about, that we are actually just people managers.
Yeah, that's true.
So I am also curious about, we've talked about your journey. The space that you work in is where everybody is right now eyeing is the future, and actually is almost the present now with Chat GPT, with everything that's happening around AI.
True.
So what really is the future like? And this I'm asking from the perspective of a very recent event, as recent as last week, when the Godfather of AI, who's been with Google for decades, Geoffrey Hinton, he moved out and he pointed in the direction that AI is a disaster in the making and we better be aware. So I would love your take on that.
So like I am not as knowledgeable, as experienced as him, of course. But since we have been working in this field for almost 7 years now, AI is a very it was in research phase for a long time. If you see the reputation of artificial intelligence just a couple of years back, just 2 years back, it was pretty bad, because people tried, like enterprises tried new technologies, and there were corporates who were figuring out some R&D budget to do something with AI, and they wanted to do it because they could see that this is the future. But the results were not very good. But just in last 3-4 months, since Chat GPT has come out, since your Auto GPT, your LLM models have come out, people themselves, they are seeing very accurate narrative, very accurate answers. And if people believe that this is the level of maturity they need in a solution, this one has it. And this is what will propagate to enterprises also. Their expectation from AI probably was very huge to begin with. Like, like it's called artificial general intelligence. That expectation they had before, that when I ask something, it should be able to work like Jarvis. It needs to read my mind. It should be able to answer 5 more things without me even asking. So those expectations are managed. Now, why I'm mentioning that, because I want to tell you that we are not there. Those expectations which are managed were limited by certain boundaries that were shown to us by current systems, which is completely fine. it is manageable. And I also think that the belief the researchers have, like Geoffrey had, like these beliefs, they have seen something far more superior than we have access to. They have been working on it for decades. Google has been working on it for decades, right? They have seen things, even like IBM has done some very good work with it. Apache had some very early ML models for people to try out, right? So they have seen something which we don't have access to, we have not seen, but in our own capacity, we know there a lot is possible. But is it is it going to scale that quickly? That is the question. You know, like if you see deep fakes today that were created by AI technologies, which are very close to real life. They are virtual influencers who act and talk very much like human. They have brand deals and everything. But at the same time, if you look at deepfakes couple of years back, like they have existed since what, 2000? Right, 2000s. So you have seen how they have grown slightly. Now people are very aware of like how things look like. If I have an AI avatar, you will be able to clearly see, okay, this is an avatar of Preksha, it's not her. Because of course it cannot mimic my expressions, my emotions, my lisp mainly. So you cannot, you can absolutely see that this is not something which was created by a human. But that will change very soon, maybe in just couple of months. So there is something to be scared of, but as human society, we have to quickly move towards creating the right checks, finding the limitations, or like creating the boundaries. What they have seen in these research organization, in bigger organization, that probably will not come out for a long time. So in short term, I don't think it's a challenge, but we have to quickly work towards figuring out those boundaries. But of course, I'm not challenging any of these, what can we call them, scholars. I'm not challenging any of the scholars, but I don't see them coming in the real world very soon, because just now you start seeing the democratization of AI, where people are able to ask few questions and get few answers, do few beautiful things, few rubbish things, like, you know, creating weird fingered images of human.
Yeah. A lot of people are also creating a lot of rap music.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
creative use too.
And funnily, I believe that maybe the tech side of people will be the first ones to get complimented. Let's call it complimented by AI. But actually, artists are getting more challenged by it. Artists, your creators, marketers, they are getting, marketers are getting complimented, artists are getting challenged. However, like if you see on the other things that happened in past 1 decade, you probably would have felt, okay, coders are the one who are going to get challenged.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting things that are happening. And
absolutely.
One of the things that I recently read upon was this whole debate on whether Chat GPT can replace Google. Is that any possibility?
I think that's very interesting that when someone asked a question on Chat GPT, their first thought was like, oh my God, I don't need to Google now, right? Now, I don't think a lot of people understand. And it's like, of course, like a lot of learned people would know and they would have realized by now. But then like with masses, there's always a certain percentage who derive their belief from what others or like few people they follow have talked about. Now, when you use Chat GPT as an expert, if I am a marketing expert, I would know that what my answer should look like. I would have an idea. It is great to create a format. If I ask it to write a recommendation letter or a essay, it will have a great format, but the content within, you will have to verify a little. Similarly, when you are searching something, let's say you're searching the best recipe to cook calamari, for example. So as someone who knows how to cook, they probably would be like, it's a guidance. Like they will be like, oh, okay, this is fine, I can do this. Maybe not this step. Looks a little excessive. Google gives us freedom to look through different options. And as human, we want to be able to compare couple of things, compare this from that. If you have one single answer, it's like your mother telling you this is the only way you're cooking calamari. Not being offensive to anyone. But that's how Chat GPT is. Let's say like it's not an expert looking at that answer. It's a child looking at an answer. For them, that's the correct answer. But the problem is the entire training has happened on Google kind of data, which has both kind of opinions. If let's say it's a political issue or a climate crisis issue, it has the right articles and it has the wrong articles. It has the mythological stories about certain things. It has the scientific stories about certain things. Now it is deriving the right combination of answer. It's not even an opinion. It's not like they don't have a concept of right or wrong, right? So Google lets you decide. Like these are a couple of answers. Something seems valuable to you. If yes, please go ahead with it. Or like you can keep looking. Now, Google is primarily a search engine. ChatGPT, I think, is more of a generative text engine. So use it like think of it as providing you a guideline. Search is not the main function that it has. In fact, like now Google also has brought out, they are working on another large language model that will help you create a summary of what search you are doing. So today also if you go on Google, it gives you a like little summary of, okay, this is how you can do it, do this is how you cook calamari, for example, and then it will have a recipe by Red Book, a recipe by Gordon Ramsay or something else. So I'm sure like Google is rattled by it because they feel, oh, my people are moving on Chat GPT. But I see that it's serving a different function altogether.
And since you talk about this, what I also make of this particular aspect is that with Google, the skill that you probably need is trying to discern the right from the wrong, have the skill to verify, validate.
Right.
Now with AI and so many AI trained models coming into play, what do you see will be the skills of the future?
One very important skill will be prompt engineering. Okay.
What is prompt engineering?
So-
Break that for the audience.
Yes. So prompt engineering is how well you can engineer a prompt, a question to ask the AI so that you get the answer that you were expecting. Let's say you want to ask something like, what is the best way to go to US? Okay. Now, when you Google it, you'll be able to see this package, that package, flight details, cruise details, whatever. Or maybe like visa, because like you can go through a job, you can marry or whatever thing. But when you ask AI, like, what is the best way? It will give you one answer. I have not tried it, so I'm curious to see now. Maybe it will give you like, how you will travel. Now, let's say you want to say how you wanted to understand how to go to US and get a green card. Okay. Through job. So now give this to me in 4 steps. How to go to US and get a green card and find a job and write down this step by step for me. This is writing the prompt clearly for AI to give you the right directions. So it will give you, step 1, do this, step 2, do that. Maybe it is a study, maybe it is applying with certain kind of companies, maybe it's doing certain right things while you are in US or at job. So it will give you that kind of thing, right? So prompt engineering is being able to ask the right question, frame it the right way so that AI is able to help you more efficiently and most effectively. So the skill of future, and it's a skill, it is not a profession. So prompt engineering will not be a job. Conversational designer, how will be or is a job actually with certain companies. Conversational designer, that can be a job.
What does that job look like?
Yeah, okay. That looks like how do you expect people to interact with certain model? Okay. Let's say it's, okay, I have this idea of imaginary friend. Okay. Okay, bear with me. So what I'm saying, like right now, there is no limit or no guidance or no supervision on how children are interacting with Chat GPT. And they have very fragile, open minds. They get right answer, wrong answer. That is the right answer for them. And whatever open AI has created the boundaries around, like these are ethically right, these are wrong, these should not be talked about. Don't do this, or no biases and all. These are for adults. Okay. So think of it as an imaginary friend where my AI model understands the children are to be told about specific things in certain way. Now, looking at how the child can interact with the system, I'll design a conversation. Like child is asking about, is Santa is real? Now, if this model is for small children, maybe it will create a story around how Santa came to be. It was a saint, did this, and it is believed that this happens. Instead of just saying that it's not real. So that's a conversation. It can ask something more about like how children are born. So it needs to give a demographic appropriate answer. So as a conversational designer who will be an expert of prompt engineering and many other things, has more to do with human interaction with others or the model. It has more to do with human interaction instead of a very technical skill. So everyone who is an expert should absolutely be able to get good at prompting. And everyone who's becoming an engineer, a doctor, a financier, like just getting out of college, whoever is just starting their career, they need to see it as an additional skill that they will need time and again. As the systems get good, it will be able to help them better. But when I am hiring someone, I would like to see if they are able to make sense of how Chat GPT answers their question. It's absolutely important for me that a copywriter is able to validate, verify, structure their content using Chat GPT or any other AI tool, because then they will be reducing their time to result, right?
Yeah.
So that is like one skill. Then again, I think data science has a good scope right now. Because of automation, we have a lot of data that we want to make sense of. Now I think there are tools for data science as well. Like one of my tools is similar to that. That where you can ask question, AI will analyze and give you right insights. But as a data scientist, as a data analyst, as a data engineer, you should be able to feed it the right data, work the model in the right way so that you have the desired result. And as a data analyst, you are able to predict certain things and work on the future of business instead of trying to derive from the past. That AI is doing for you. You don't need to worry about that. Then there is AI researcher. I think that's something good to get in. It's interesting and a lot of things going to happen, and it will be really exciting field to be in. But also a very important bit is that if you don't want to be in technical roles, technical education, it's completely fine. Pick something which has a very core degree, like maybe in economics, maybe in healthcare, maybe in hospitality, like something which is very professional. Because you will always get no code tools and AI tools to work with things, but you will have to have that expert knowledge to be able to use them right. And tomorrow we'll need less of people with shallow knowledge, like who have like vague idea about certain things, and they are relying on AI because AI is relying on us.
Yeah.
So you will have to be an absolute expert in something.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to, let's say, teach crochet, if you want to teach that, or if you want to create a course on that, AI will create it for you, but you will have to know absolutely everything to be able to validate if this is correct. And this is how I want to teach it.
Yeah.
So be an expert of anything, but don't worry about how technology will be able to take you forward further, because it will.
And as an entrepreneur, what are 3 things that you are most excited about? And what do you feel is the most promising part of AI from where we stand today?
I am very excited about imaginary friend for adults as well. I mean
Uh-huh.
to say that compassionate model that we can talk to and share how we feel as someone like a therapist, but of course it will not come with their expertise, but someone to just share with, an imaginary friend, as I said. The other thing I feel very excited about is, automation and data science. Today, it's a very tedious job. It's very tedious because there are multiple level of people involved, multiple domains are involved, and business does not know um, how to talk how to guide data teams right in order to get the right output. So there is always a little bit of hassle between them, that they are not understanding, they are not giving the right outputs. Business did not know how to talk to them right, and they are not able to derive the right value out of all this time and all this data that they have worked on. So the future of AI in data science is very exciting, knowing that everything else rolls down from there. Something that used to take 6 months, 7 months of time to do in past, like let's say for an application development,
Yeah.
today that has reduced to maybe a week. Okay, multiple things, maybe a week. With tools, you can do much better. Similarly, businesses put a lot of time in this research and understanding of the market. If they're in production, understanding of how the product is performing, what kind of manufacturing details they need to change, kind of thing, then it takes like few months. So look at it as how automation started. So people were a little, they felt challenged by it because they felt like, oh, like so many hours of my job will be cut down by automation. Okay. In manufacturing, especially, like if a machine is automating creation of, matchsticks, so you will not need as many people. But for a lot of people, that also became easier to manage. The scale become larger. Similar thing will happen with AI as well. So I think one of the biggest challenge in business is that, like when they are doing the back work
Yeah.
on how their activities should look like, which market they should target, how they should work on the new strategies, data is very essential for them to work. And now we have more and more of it, and that means your data teams need to expand.
Interesting.
So so in that case, we feel like, I'm excited, like AI will be able to streamline a lot of that and give data analysts, data scientists, business analysts, data engineers the right set of things to work with, instead of waiting on communication and working on the past data. They will be able to design models for future, so that they can see their path, a couple of years ahead.
Yeah.
Not just, and this used to take like a lot of time. Now it will take considerably less time. Third thing, okay, I am really excited about the education, force educators and authorities to create a new kind of curriculum to change how education is done today. I think that is going to be massive. A lot of companies, tutoring companies, coaching companies, are already seeing a dip in their revenues because people are taking help of AI instead of learning from them. So I am really excited to see what will happen with education, because it needs a major upgrade. In fact, like NCRT announced just 2 years back that they will change the curriculum, and I believed at that time also it will take at least 10 years for them to put something in effect. But now they are forced to bring something up.
Yeah.
Not just them, but even like these unicorns who focus on children's education, they will have to figure out, like, what is the best, more effective way and cheaper way to educate.
Yeah. They might as well take help of AI.
They absolutely will. There is no other way.
On that note, you also talked about one thing that I picked from this conversation is about employment. And in the current phase of things and how mass layoffs are happening, I'm also curious, are there any things that you fear as an entrepreneur when it comes to AI?
Right now, I think my fear is more from people's perspective, that it is a COVID level event. If you see it from um, like people who are affected, it's a COVID level event in the sense like lakhs of people are losing their jobs. Okay. Some of them because there was a wrong kind of hiring that happened. A lot of them because AI is streamlining couple of things for a lot of companies, and IBM recently announced that they will rather hire AI agents and try to limit their employee hires, right? So what I fear is that it will affect people's mental state, like how people are looking at AI. They will not see it as an opportunity, as a companion, and instead of stop working together with it, like alongside it, and that will actually make this case worse. It will actually force companies and creators, or like creators and like researchers, to figure out more effective tools which are able to fill in the gap. You see that the effect that is happening here, because people do not want, like how like early 90s people started boycotting computers, that will not work with computers.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that? And then there were newer generation which came in, okay, fine, we'll just replace you.
Yeah.
So people were replacing people because they were better trained. Now AI can be created to that level. So instead of feeling that, okay, oh, I don't want to work with it, if you do this, if you implement AI in the industry, I'll not work. Instead of that, try to stay ahead of the curve, try to figure out like how it is helping you do certain tasks, so that when that comes in, when something is implemented, you're already prepared, you have figured out your value in it. I also think there will be a lot of freelancers.
Uh-huh.
There'll be a lot of freelancers because they don't, like, not everyone needs a massive team now to do certain things with the help of the tools, which is great. um, Not everyone is also cut out to be a freelancer. So it will become expensive to work with the good ones, and it will become very cheap to work with the subpar ones. And the economy will not make sense, like the freelancer economy will stop making sense for a while, till the time we figure out what to do with it.
Interesting.
Weird take, right?
Yeah. And makes me think that probably that is already happening to some extent, and might just become a bigger problem till we figure out, like you said,
Yeah.
how to deal with it. And that has been some very interesting take on AI. I am now, I think, coming to a part where I want to know again about a little about you as an entrepreneur. How do you end up staying sane? Matlab, what are some rituals that you follow and stay sane amidst all the chaos that is happening, amidst all the development that's happening every day, every minute, and staying on top of it can lead to a burnout, like you said.
Yeah.
But how do you stay sane? How do you manage?
I think when I was saying that, expecting a heartbreak,
Yeah.
I have understood how to work with that.
Yeah.
That also helped. Like I was doing it for my team, people I relied on. But I think how things are changing, that I'm able to take a sane perspective on that. Like in fact, like we have been working on AI for almost 7 years. 4 years back, we announced our product where we can, you can ask question and it will generate insights for you. As soon as Chat GPT came in, people started asking us, okay, oh, this is the same thing. You were doing something similar. So of course it's scary. But like you have to look forward, try to figure out that how it can be an opportunity to you. If there is a competition, maybe there is something you are onto. Maybe that the market is that important. But they were not the same things, but it made us think about what will change for people. They will look at my product and Chat GPT similar way. So what would change? What I realized that thing that actually happened was people were trying to understand how to ask right questions, which has been a big problem for us like for many years, because we were not sure like how will we make them ask the right question, because we wanted to make it very natural. But today people are trying to change their question. They will ask again and ask again. But anyway, like I think in all this, what I realized that looking at your goal from bird's eye view, like okay, this is the goal. A little hiccup, we have to take another turn, but that's fine. We are still going there. Or do we need to move that? So knowing that like you are still reaching where you wanted to go, that gives me hope. That sort of like keeps me sane. But then I have also started relying a lot on my family recently. And that helps because like they no matter what, they are there. They love you the same, and they are trying to understand what you are doing and be supportive that way. I think that gives me a lot of power.
Beautiful. I think to have your family backing you always and knowing that they are there, having your back always, is definitely a very, very grounding and a safe feeling.
Yeah, it is.
With that, I have a question from our last CXO.
Okay.
So we have a ritual on our show. The CXO show ritual is CXO Talks ritual is where every CXO gets to pass forward a question to the next CXO. So we have a question for you from Pooja Chatterjee. And the question that she has is that if life gave you a do-over, like if there was a genie who just comes out of the lamp when you just rub the lamp, and you could start everything with a clean slate, would you do it all the same way, or would you change anything?
I think one, I will not have the heart to do it all over again. It was very harrowing. It's fine, and I'm glad that I could do all those things. But yeah, I think I'll change a few decisions, but I know which decisions I changed. I probably would want to go finish things early, go to market early, maybe let go of few projects which probably were not right at the moment, but that of course taught us a lot of things. So yeah, I think it's hard to be focused on the same thing for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then it's very comforting, and it's very I don't know, like it gives me a different kind of happiness. It's like I'm on my 10th level of happiness when I see that actually the world is moving towards that and validating that we were not doing everything just because we felt like. It actually made sense in our head, and it's happening today.
Fantastic. And now's the time when you have the chance to leave a question for the next CXO.
Yes. So my question is, of course, will be around AI. And I want to know, like, if you have a chance to integrate AI today in any aspect of your business, would you do it? Or do you want to see how others, your competitors, are doing it, and then, like, wait around it, and when you're sure, then do it?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting question for sure.
You want to answer that?
I answer all these questions in my head.
I'm sure you do.
The part of the CXO Talks ritual isn't me answering these questions. It is the next CXO answering it. So I'll leave it to the next CXO until we get somebody on CXO Talks next.
Okay, I'll wait for them to answer it and hear it.
You have to come back and listen to that episode.
Absolutely.
To the next episode. But thank you so much. It was a fabulous conversation, not only from your journey per se, but also from where we are when it comes to the world of AI and where we will be.
Yeah. And thank you for having me. I am more excited by the fact that I am sitting here with my best friend.
I know,
like, being at that place where we can empower each other.
Yes.
That's amazing. Like, from college, how we were, and then where we have grown to be. I think it's very real and very amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much. And yes.
Kisses.
For the audience, yes, it is the best friends sharing a lot of love. So thank you so much. I think this has been a fabulous conversation. And with that, we sign off.
Okay, bye.